Hello, I've had a few goes at this, trying to point a way forward for not merely Egypt, but the rest of us. And is the word published? I've put up my ideas on electoral reform now for very many years, 16 years. My website, www.rainbowcoalition.ca, tries to deal with it back in 2003 and before. Uh, But specifically, I think it's very important that serious thought is given to this by the common people of Egypt, those people who showed up on the streets, those people who basically come out of a childhood that was provided to them by the military, by NASA breaking loose from under the control of the British, and um, and standing firm as a people, a united people, I suspect, accepting that the army is necessary in the Middle East these days, but not really being terribly aggressive, certainly not towards Egypt, and in general support of the Arab speaking world. Egypt is a very powerful and important people, and like the Canadian people, I think they're an intelligent and largely well educated and peaceful people. And I think the same thing goes for the Egyptian army. I think we should address ourselves to the fact that the people are dissatisfied with the election. The two leaders and politicians generally are distrusted widely in Egypt as they are throughout the rest of the world. And when you see how they've largely all been complicit here in Canada, all the cabinets, with the fact that there's been a fraud, a massive fraud in the history of money in Canada to put the Canadian people into debt through usury, needs finally to be addressed here. And I suspect it needs to be addressed in Egypt and just about everywhere else in the world. Clearly, this is a paradigm shift we're looking for here. We're looking for a new sense of social security because essentially if we are to live in peace, we have to learn to live in peace with our military. We have to learn to live in peace with those forces that are genuinely not directed by evil. And I believe the military largely preaches, although regretfully, certainly, the United States seems to have lost its way. But generally speaking, they've turned the ugliness over to these brigands, these they call themselves now mercenaries. Well, they've always been mercenaries in the world, and those are the people who are really not holding the honor of protection of women and children at all carefully. And to the extent that boils over into armies everywhere, then of course we're dealing with serious evil. The people of Egypt, and starting with that man in Yemen, I believe, who began the spring last year, and we've had repercussions of it here, of course, in Canada. The casserole of the French Canadian people demonstrated that although Mr. Harper, the Harper government, as he likes to call it, have a mandate in the House, allegedly, they have no mandate from the people to participate in any of these omnibus bills, and this is clearly a failure of our democratic process. So we're dealing with the same kind of thing here in Canada, but here, of course, we haven't gone through the, strictly speaking, revolutionary stage that the people in Cairo did and took the bloodiness that has happened in Bahrain and all around the world where people are trying to say to the governors, this is unacceptable to us. We're human beings. We're kind people. We're not looking to be playing endless money games that set people against people simply so that a few people become very rich. This is a madness and it must stop. We're in this world here to serve the great Creator, I believe, as caretakers on the planet. I have a friend who says, and he's deeply versed in the Bible, the Western Bible, the Christian Bible as it's called, and I think quite educated in most of the Torah and all these other holy works. And he says that we should begin to recognize a new covenant. And the new covenant would be upholding creation. That as brothers and sisters, as children on the planet, sisters and brothers, mothers and fathers, on this Father's Day, we must appeal to the world once again to get over the myth of money, to recognize universal family credit, to begin to share the life on this planet with the thrill of discovery of the beauty of creation that we're equipped to enjoy. It's time for world peace. It's time to stop neo-colonialism with the Americans and the British. The Russian people, I think, have stood very firm against further colonization of Eastern Europe after recognizing that their heartland and their homeland and the peace of their families and the kindness that can exist is what brought us Mr. Gorbachev some years ago. And he was tragically dirty tricked, of course, by President Reagan. And the dirty tricks of the American hierarchy, I guess that's what you would call it, is very tragic. And I think we have to begin to find forgiveness. It's very regretful that Mr. Obama has not stayed true to his words and has demonstrated himself simply to be another puppet in the hands of the money people, the corporations, the dirty tricks and the blue meanness of the banksters, and the cruelty that underlies a passion of greed. It's truly time for a simple alternative on the ballot that I called for in Egypt, and we need to have here in British Columbia. And none of the above on the ballot. A random selection from those pool of people who have made that rational decision to not vote for any candidate that runs as a candidate for any political party. Give serious thought to independents. I think there's great value in independents, but know them. Know what they're about, know where their agenda goes. And then by all means, if you find it attractive and you don't feel like taking a chance on the man down the street, should he have voted for none of the above as you have, and understand that I think we have to restructure the partisan, political, adversarial, competitive systems of the 18th century must go. It's time for us to recognize our fundamental equality. We're all God's children in the Trinity between Mother Earth and Father Son. I appealed to the Queen in my last little piece to bring about the Renaissance by acknowledging a Jubilee, and this I know can be done. That's really all I have to say today, except peace and blessings to everyone, all fathers and all mothers in the world. We're all children. We're all children of that undifferentiated consciousness that comes to us as a small, quiet voice and tells us really what is true and what is just and what is kind and what is loving. That is the voice we must begin to listen to. I wish good fortune to the people of Egypt. I hope that they adopt a none of the above alternative. If they have to run a parallel election, then by all means go ahead and do that. I would like to see tourism back into Egypt, but preferably I'd like to see people beginning to travel and not be in a rush. Take their time, get to know the communities, understand we are all crew on one spaceship. And though we may be of different colors, and we may be of different traditions, underneath it all, we are children. Thanks very much for your attention. God bless. Happy trails. Thank you.